Welcome back. It's Jeff Byers, and this is UV mapping, Module 1 UV mapping, and we're still working with textile density, and now we're ready to pack everything. There's a couple things we need to do to make sure everything's looking good. So we need to make sure that everything's aligned right. Okay, so the only way to do that is to find out where these are at. So if I go click on UV shell, if I click on the UV shell, it tells us where it is. The idea now is because the shell might be upside down, and sometimes that's not a big deal, but you do need to make sure that they're the right side up. So if I right click on this, and the only way to know is to go to UV. So right click over it, and now you can click on the top, so you know which the top is. So that works out good for that one. And we'll select these over here, and that's the top for these. Now, if it wasn't the top, what you could do, right click over, go to UV shell, click on it, and under tools, under the transform, so you got to have the transform on, like turn it on, open it up. And in here where you have tools, rotate, you can rotate it. And it's going to do 45 degrees each time you click on it. So I'm going to click on it twice, 1, 2, and that basically will lets me rotate that object around. Okay. Now it was already correct the first time, so I'm going to rotate that around again. Alright, so I'm going to go back to UV shell, click on it, and hit that twice. There we go. So the idea now is to check all your pieces. Okay, make sure they're facing the right way. Right, that's super important. So let's go into these, find out where that is. That's on the bottom, so that one's got to be rotated. So I'm going to check for everything, make sure that when I select the tops of these that they are facing the top, otherwise it'll be reversed. Okay. So I'm going to pause the video for now and fix everything, and I'll come right back. Right now, so I've got everything arranged. So if I go in here and select, I know exactly that every one of the UVs are facing the top and facing the right way, and that's really important, especially when you're letting Maya lay out your UVs. So right now I think we're good to go. I will check this again after we lay out the UVs. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and lay out the UVs in the 0 to 1 UV space. And this time, instead of letting Maya just laying them out for us, there's some settings I want to change. So if I go to modify and go into layout, go to the option box, you can see that if we go to edit and just reset settings, I'm going to scroll down, and a couple things I'm going to change. So texture map size, I'm going to do 2048. Okay, and let's do 4096, about the max we can go. And shell padding, we're going to do 20. Hit enter. And tile padding, we're going to do 20. And that's the pixels, or the texels, basically saying padding units, pixels. So we're doing 20 pixels between the UV shells. And we want to distribute through the entire solution, not the UV shell centers. We're not using UDIMs, so we don't need to have any tiles, just going to use 1-to-1. We want to pack the full entire square, and the scale mode is uniform. That's what got us in trouble, because that's what it resets it at. What we want to do is we want to do that off. We want to just turn it off. Okay. So what I'm looking for now is when I click the button that nothing rotates. I got everything exactly the way I wanted it, or I have it here, and it's just going to pack it in those UVs. I could put them in here, and then click on layout UVs, and you can see that it packs them really nicely in there. Okay. And it looks like it basically kept all. I'm going to go to UVs and just click on the tops of everything, and it did rotate some stuff. So I guess you can't really keep it from rotating. Let me go Control Z. Let me look at the settings again one more time. Just to double check. Okay, packing iterations, packing together, no overlapping, pack separately, overlapping. Shell pre-rotation off. Everything is off on rotation. Rotate shells. We don't want to do that. Do we want to translate shells? Let's turn that off and see what that does. And everything else looks good. Let's go ahead and pack the shells. Okay. Didn't really pack them. It did move them. It didn't really pack them. So, it put them in within UV space. I guess I can change and fix those. I do want it to pack it. So, I'm going to go ahead and reset. And let's go back down and just make those changes here. Let's do 20 and 20, and then let's go ahead and go into uniform, turn that off. Here we go. And texture map size 4096, and yeah, UVs. Okay, so I can make those adjustments and twirl those around again. It's not a big deal. Okay, with that done, we want to make sure everything is in the right, in the same texture space, meaning that UVs are laid out now, so we can forget about those. And in here, we want to get everything back where they were. Let's get into object mode. And let's see if this will work. If I just type in from translate to Z and hit 0, enter. Yeah, that puts them everything back in the center again. Okay. Alright, that looks pretty good. The only thing is this one went down too far, and I don't think that's really not set up right. So let me get that back in where it needs to be. So I'm going to do D and V and snap that to the corner and move that up. Is that up? Nope. And click on grid snap. There we go. Alright, so all these objects now, okay, are good to go. One last thing is before we export all these pieces separately and put them into Substance Painter, get the textures on there, I am going to go ahead and so what we're going to do, we're just going to click off all of these. And what happened to my big one? There it is. Alright, so let's just go ahead and start with the big one. Big object. And I don't think the UVs were on. I don't think I laid out the UVs. Yeah, I did. So UVs are good to go on that one. Okay. So the idea now is we want to go ahead and bring these out, send these out. Now that the textual density is in there and we've packed them, all the pieces and everything looks good. Now we're ready to save it out. Okay. And so we want to go into the UV snapshot, but make sure you turn the grid snap off and you have object mode is on. Go to edit, and go into the UV snapshot. That's a little camera there. Make sure that's set up properly. We can turn this to PNGs. I usually like targets. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter which one you do, but target or PNG is fine. Where do you want to put it? And we want to put it under source images folder. Okay. And we're going to type in something like large. Okay, I'm going to type in large block underscore UV and click on save. We'll just save one and I'm going to do the rest of them. You need to change this to 1. Now, it should be 1. I've been doing UDIMs. 4096, 4096, you can type in that. And it looks good. So if you do get an error or it looks like it's not saving out, you need to be in object mode. It doesn't work if you're in component mode. So make sure you right click over the object and go to selection, or click on this guy right here. Make sure you're in selection, it's green. The only reason why isn't it green is because I've got the seams showing, so I'm going to turn the seams off. Go ahead and click apply and close. Okay, we'll save one and then I'll save the rest over. So file, export selection, we're going to do OBJ. Okay, click on export selection, everything else is good. And type in large block. Alright. And we're good to go. Export selection. There you go. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the UV editor. Actually get the rest of these moved out as OBJs, and I'll pause the video. Oh yeah, I came back. I just wanted to make sure that you do this, that it's okay that you don't want to have all of the objects selected. Okay, these will have their own UVs, but we'll be sharing one tiled UV space. So you will select the object, you will go ahead and save it out, export it, the UVs out, and export that one particular object. So again, you'll be doing file, export selection as an OBJ. Alright, you'll do that for all these. So I'll come back after I get all this. Okay, I'm back and I got everything exported out. So the UVs are exported for each object, and then I exported each object out. Alright, the next thing that we will do is we will import in texture. So we want to go ahead and let's just get started on the wall. That'll be the first one we do. We don't have UDIMs, so we're not using them. DirectX is fine. We're going to do this to 4096. We're going to select the object, find out where the object is, and under here, and we've got all 6 of those. So I'm going to do the, looks like the wall block. Okay. Everything looks good. Do we have any textures right now? Nope, we don't have any, so let's go ahead and click OK. Alright, so whoops, don't want to do that. Hold down the Alt key to move around, zoom out a little bit. So there's my wall. Excellent. Okay, now we're in Substance Painter. And now we got to, once we have this all set up, you can start adding textures to this object, and that will be in module 2, where I'll show you how to add these textures into Substance Painter. So, and then send them back out again and get them all put together in Maya, and then send them back into Unreal 4 engine. So again, this will be module 2, and we'll be back. I wanted to kind of leave you thinking about where you can find some textures. So you got Substance Share. That's a forum community that uploads different materials that they create and make, and they're free. And then there's Substance Share that costs about $19 a month or something, or it comes with your subscription if you do subscribe to Substance Painter. Substance Painter is free, but you don't get Substance Share or Substance Source free. I think we talked about that. But anyway, so please feel free to find some good materials. I found all my materials that I'm going to use on Substance Share. They're free, so I went ahead and got those. And I will see you in module 2, when we'll go ahead and get these things, the modular pieces all set up and ready to texture. Alright, I'll see you in the next video.